If you're currently feeling stuck in your OnlyFans journey, there is one question you need to ask yourself right now, and that's, what am I actually trying to achieve? Because if you don't know where you're going, how are you ever gonna get there? Spoiler, you're not. You need to be laser focused on what you're fighting for and what you're trying to build. So if you want to succeed on OnlyFans as an agency or a creator, this video is important for you. Let's break it down. First, you have to be specific in what you're trying to acquire, because it's all about precision. And I'm not just talking about vague ideas like, I want to make more money or I want to be successful on OnlyFans. I mean, what's the specific outcome? Because if you aren't extremely specific in the goal you are trying to achieve, you're never going to achieve it. It's like setting out on a road trip with no destination. You're just going to keep driving in circles. And so a vague goal like, I want to be rich in OFM, is extremely stupid. Always set a very specific goal. Let me give you an example. An example of this is like, I want to reach 100k followers on Instagram. When you set a specific goal, you can then start thinking of ways to achieve it. You will start brainstorming ideas, split testing accounts, uploading and working more, focusing every single day on how to achieve that goal. And if you just tell yourself you want to be rich, your mind just starts thinking, how do I make money? And the question should never be, how do I make more money? You should always ask yourself, what steps can I commit to every day to get money in the future? So you have to define your target, visualize the details, how it feels, looks, and impacts your life. And so how would you feel if you had 100k followers on Instagram? What would it allow you to do? Would it allow you to get 100 subs a day? Would it allow you to make 3-4 times the money you're making right now? Those are the goals you should be setting, specific goals, and then remind yourself of them every single day, because that vision then becomes the fuel for every action you take in the future. Now, motivation. I want to expand on this as I believe it's extremely important, because people think that goals like, I want to be rich, are a positive motivation. It's very negative. And let me show you why. Let's take the example of, I want to be rich. Let me draw this like this. So, if you're not rich, you're broke. You're at the start here. And you are trying to be rich. Why is this now a bad motivation? So, motivation, let's put it here. So, your motivation here, when you're broke, is extremely high. It's the highest here. And rich is a very vague term. Let's say you're broke, you can't afford anything, and then you get a little bit of money, and now you're here. This is you, right? You're right here now. Your motivation is now weaker here. So the farther away you get from broke, your motivation gets weaker. Why is this? Because when you say, I want to be rich, or I want to get in shape, the thing you're actually saying is, I don't want to be broke, and I don't want to be fat. That's the thing you literally just said. It's a very negative motivation because it's vague. It's very subjective. And so if you get here, now your motivation is even weaker here because you're no longer broke. Because your goal was actually, I don't want to be broke. So motivation like that is never good because it isn't measurable. And the farther away you get from the actual goal, and the goal isn't, I want to be rich. The goal is literally, I don't want to be broke. And the farther away you get from that, the less you will work because your motivation is not as high. Now, let's give an example of a good goal. My apologies, I had to cut the video because I had some issues. Let's continue. So, let's give an example of good motivation now. So, let's draw this again. Now, let's give an example of a good goal, like I want to hit 20k a month revenue, right? Right now, let's say you're earning $0 or you're at, I don't know, let's say 2k, and you want to hit 20k. Your motivation, so let's write it down, motivation will stay the same all throughout. So your motivation is the same here, it's the same here, it's the same everywhere. Because until you reach that goal, your motivation stays the same. That's an example of a good goal, because a good goal is specific and positive, and it cannot be denied. It's not subjective. 20K a month is very specific. Hey, if you're making 19K a month, that means you're like here. You're not at your goal yet. So you have to keep working. Your motivation is still high because you haven't achieved it. And so be careful for negative motivations like I want to be rich. Don't be vague. Be very specific. And this can be replaced with I want to reach 50, 100K Instagram followers. Replace it with a specific goal. Let's continue. The third thing is stop obsessing over the best method. Let's be real, there is no best method. Too many people waste their time searching for the perfect strategy, the one magical system that's gonna unlock instant success. Here's the truth. There are 100 ways to reach your goal, but none of them will work if you don't stick to one and go all in. And I see it all the time. People try a method for a week, then they drop it because they think they found something better. You just have to commit to what's in front of you. Test it, adjust, but don't keep abandoning methods before you've ever given them a real shot. Chasing perfection keeps you poor. Executing relentlessly makes you rich. The fourth thing is stop labeling yourself. Just do the work that's required to grow. I hear people label themselves constantly like, oh, I'm just starting out, I'm pretty new to all of this, I'm trying my best, but things aren't working, help me. Listen, none of that matters. Don't fall into the trap of identifying yourself by your current situation. Labels are just another way we make excuses. They give you a way to stay comfortable without changing anything. And here's a better strategy. Stop identifying yourself as someone who is trying or struggling, and instead start identifying as someone who just gets things done. Shows up, puts the efforts in, and focuses on the work. The label that matters isn't beginner or advanced, it's executor. I am the guy who executes and gets shit done. That should become your personality if you want to win. And lastly, OnlyFans is a business. It's not a magic pill. Like, OnlyFans is a business. It's not a magic trick to make money. It's literally like any other business. You have a product you are selling. That's your model in this case. And I of course mean you're selling your model's content. You then have marketing. Marketing is your Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit traffic, for example. You market her, try to make her known, and try to make her go viral. And finally, you have sales. Sales is your chatting team and your way of selling her content to her subs. So it's like any other serious business. There's strategy, consistency, and constant tweaking involved. Every single decision you make about how you market, who you're targeting, what your content looks like, it all plays a role in building a business. And in this case, the business is your model, so you're always looking to build and expand her brand. So treat it like a business, not a side hustle. You need systems, accountability, and constant improvements. So when you start seeing it that way, that's when the real results happen. And so the key takeaways from this are: define your target, stop chasing perfection, do the work without excuses, and get very clear about what motivates you and your goals. Also make sure that motivation is productive and positive instead of negative. Show up every day and treat OnlyFans for what it is, and it's a business. The more you do that, the more unstoppable you become.